Blog Talk Radio.
Well, here we go, boys and girls across this great country. Coronavirus might have a grip, but nothing has a grip on this American Sports History podcast, hosted by my good friend Peter Ray out of Cleveland, Ohio, 347-205-9631. Without further ado, big special guest is on, and a lot of callers coming in here now from Harrisburg and New York. We'll get to those guys momentarily. But, Peter, as I give this podium, this mic, and this red carpet over to you, how are you, first of all? Second of all, how can everybody get a hold of you? And third of all, special guest on the line for you.
Right. I'm fine, Mark, and I have a YouTube channel. I make history videos. We made 657 history videos, including 171 regarding Cleveland baseball, going back to 1869, every year from 1869 to 2019, including the 20 Negro League seasons. So, Mr. Brusstar, it's a real honor to speak with you. Wonderful. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me, Peter. It's a joy. I've really been looking forward to doing your show for you. Thank you.
Now, you played the MLB, had a tremendous career from 1977 to 1985 with the Phillies, White Sox, and Cubs. And I wanted to talk first about the 80 Phillies because you guys ended the 97-year title drought for that franchise going back to 1883, which was the longest in MLB until the Cubs in 2016 ended a 108-year title drought. So, and you know that's and the one play is that I thought was just incredible when the pop-up and Bob Boone went over to make the play, and Pete Rose was right there and caught the ball when it popped out. You know, tremendous play.
Right.
Anyway, would you like to talk about the night? What a tremendous. You were a part of one of the greatest teams in MLB history. You want to talk about your experience with the 1980 Phillies?
Sure. Yeah, we had a lot of injuries in '79. They'd won we won the division 3 years in a row, '76 through 78, and then '79 had a lot of injuries, had a tough year, and then got everybody healthy in 1980. And it took 4.5 months to finally put it together. And when we got hot, was down the stretch. I believe we went something like 35-7 from the middle of August to the end of the season. It was quite a finish, but that's what we needed to do. We dug ourselves such a big hole early in the year and trying to make do with starters, guys coming out of AAA that were helping out. And once we all got healthy and got going, then we started to roll, and then everything fell into place. It was a very, very tough series in Houston. And then by the time we got to the World Series with Kansas City, I think it helped us relax, finally getting over the hump and finally getting to a World Series.
And then you won the series.
Yes, we won the first two games, lost the next two, and came back in the top of the ninth of Game 5 to get ahead in that one and win that game. And then we went home with Steve Carlton on the mound. And we were feeling pretty good going home to Philadelphia, knowing that Lefty was on the mound, and all we had to do was win one game. And who else would you want out there but Steve Carlton?
And so you guys won the series, and then ended a 97-year wait for the fans in Philadelphia. What was that like after when you won it all?
Oh, it was great. It was a phenomenal feeling, and to see everybody the next day at the parade going down Broad Street was just a phenomenal experience. Ending up in old JFK Stadium and seeing 100,000 people there, it was just.
Hello. Can't hear anything. Anybody there?
Yep,
I'm here.
We're here. Warren?
Still there, Mr. Brusstar?
See if we can bring him back in.
Okay.
Let me see. Testing.
Okay.
Warren, are you there? Yeah, we lost him for a moment. He should be calling right back in. We've got a couple callers on till we get him back in. Here he comes. There you go, Warren. Warren back in.
All right.
Yep.
So you're talking about the after you won the 1980 World Series.
Yes. Yeah, and then the parade we had down Broad Street and the great time in Philadelphia with the great Philadelphia fans and finally bringing home a World Championship, something that we've been striving for 5 years and finally made it happen. And it was just a wonderful feeling to experience that in Philadelphia. And again, like I said, the parade down Broad Street and culminating at JFK Stadium with 100,000 people there was just great. It was great fun and great time for the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was, like I said, as a fan, when you're a fan, you want to win the World Series and you wait year after year after year, and all these years, and after all, 97 years. Now,
That's a long time.
We could talk about that for a long time, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the '84 Cubs because you were on that team, and they got to the playoffs for the first time since 1945, a 39-year wait, and that was I'm sure a very special team for Cubs fans in memory. You want to talk about the '84 Cubs a little bit?
Yeah, that's another great experience. By about the middle of May, 1st of June, you couldn't get a ticket at Wrigley Field. And the oddity of that season was when we'd go on the road, we would have more people cheering for us than they would the home team. We went on one trip to Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Houston, and in all three ballparks, they were cheering for us every time we did something. And it was a real eerie feeling that you cheered on the road.
Okay.
But people in Chicago couldn't get tickets, so they'd travel on the road with us. The Cubs fans travel very well, and it was exciting to have a sold-out ballpark every day. That's where we got rolling. The fans got behind us, and it was just a phenomenal number. And you can put it in a better ballpark than Wrigley Field. All the ancient history that has gone on in that ballpark, and it was great to be a part of it. Add this, we couldn't pull it to get the whole series.
Yeah, Game 7 of the 2016 series here in Cleveland was more like a home. It was more like I think a home game for the Cubs because I think there were more Cubs fans who came.
Right, I remember watching that. Yeah, the Cubs fans traveled very well.
Well, did you celebrate the 2016 Cubs winning?
Sure. I had some old teammates, Bob Dernier and Gary Matthews, the guys I talked to, that we were all on the '84 team together, and this time to time.
Yeah, it's nice, you watch these World Series, and you see a lot of former players in the stands, who've been retired who knows how long, and they're rooting for they're still, and so it's nice that. That's wonderful. Now we got a number of callers here. Mark, who do you want to put in first? Lou from New York.
Yeah, we'll get Lou in first, and then followed by Kevin in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Then we got Chuck on Palm Springs. Lou, you're on.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, Mr. Brusstar.
Hi, Lou. How you doing?
All right. Now, first of all, I'm from New Jersey, not New York. So just to clarify that up. But don't worry, everybody makes that mistake. I was really pulling for the Cubs in the '84 playoffs. I really thought they were going to make it. I really thought they were going to, win the World Series that year, and just so bummed. I mean, even though I'm from New York, I was rooting for not just as because I'm a Yankee fan, but because I'm a baseball fan, and I really want to see that drought, end. Well, I'm glad in 2016 that the Cubs, finally got it, and I was doing a late show at that time, and I wasn't going to leave until this was over because, come on, this is history. We may never see this again in our lifetime. And, it was like, the curse has finally been broken. It's all over. Oh, boy. And the thing, what people forget was that game was delayed by rain for 1 hour and was already midnight here on the East Coast. I'm like, oh, no, this is going to be miserable. But I also won the 80 World Series, and, congratulations on the Phillies. But what did you think about the 2008 series when they won that?
Oh, that was phenomenal. Yeah, it was great to see the Phillies get back and finally win another World Series. And there were a lot of Tug McGraw wore 45. Yeah. Brad Lidge wore 54. We won it in 80. They won it in 08. There were a lot of oddities in that. between the two. Yeah, great guy.
I met Brett last summer.
Fantasy camp a couple times. Oh, did you?
Yeah, he made an appearance in Lang City Casino, and it was a meet and greet. And I got a chance to meet him and get his autograph.
Oh, wow. Yeah. He was
but,
great closer. He did a great job in that series.
But there's always something missing, from the Phillies. I'm not talking just about a player. I'm talking about, of course, the great broadcaster Harry Kalas.
Right.
And,
right.
Who would have thought it'd be his last game? And as soon as I turn on the set, I also turn on the radio broadcast. You hear that call, "Strike him out, Phillies win!" Oh man,
right.
What a moment!
Yeah. Harry was an icon.
I'm a Harry fan. What can I say?
Yeah, I think anybody that listened to Harry talk became a Harry fan instantly.
Well, I've been around the block a few times.
Okay.
I've been around a while. I'm almost, I shouldn't say my age, but I've been following the Phillies for the last 40 years. At least.
Yep.
So I remember that.
Strong organization.
Yeah, and when Tubman McGraw did the 7-Up commercials, et cetera, oh my God, I am old. Wow, I am old. You get the picture though. But it was a great Philly memories, and also
Thank
when
you,
of course, I also remember when Rose broke the base hit record. I always remember that. I was a freshman in high school.
Right. Yeah.
September '85.
Yes, right, up Eric Shaw in Cincinnati.
Yes. What a moment.
Lou, thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We got Kevin from Harrisburg on the line.
Mr. Brusstar, how you doing today?
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Hello. I'm doing well.
Yep.
I have a question for you. Why is it so hard for Major League Baseball teams to repeat as World Series once they win? You a lot of times you see them move players around to different teams and trade players to different teams after they win the World Series. But I think that you should allow them to stay because once you get a taste of the apple, you want to bite the apple more than one time. So, what are your thoughts on that right there?
Well, it's the thing. The way the game's structured today, with so many free agents, you're going to have 5 or 6 free agents after a World Series victory, and the guys are due big pay hikes, and that has something to do with it a little bit. And then also, you're playing a longer season than the other teams are. So the pitching at times after a few years will get worn down, and they're throwing extra innings that add to the workload that they have with the regular season. And finally start to get a little bit tired and worn out playing those extra games in the postseason. And it's very difficult the way it's structured. Teams are building from their farm systems, and all of a sudden one team will hit on 4 or 5 rookies or young players that come up, and they start to build a nucleus. That's what you try to do with your farm system, build that nucleus that you can bring in the pieces and build around. So teams the rosters are fluctuating a lot more than they did in the past. And I think that has a lot to do with there are not as many repeat winners. It seems like every year it's the different winners in the divisions every year. And I think that's good for baseball because it gives everybody a chance to retool in the off season and make a run for the following season. You don't have to wait 4 or 5 years to produce a winner.
Right. I have maybe 1 or 2 more questions for you. The next question I have for you is that I'm seeing a lot of young pitchers get the Tommy John surgery now. And if you look back in history, you had people like Sandy Koufax and those guys that pitched, never got Tommy John surgery, that pitched 9 innings most of the times, 8 at the 8 least.
Right.
Let's say had a really bad game,
right.
They came out. But what has changed as far as the physical? Because I think the guys that play baseball now are probably more physically fit. The diets are probably better now than they were before back in those days. So
right.
why do you think that has become an issue now, where you got to have a pitcher for 4 innings, and you got to have three more pitches after that, then you have your closer. Why do you think? Can you explain to us why that is?
Well, the kids are bigger and stronger today, and what's happening is the ligaments and tendons in their arms aren't growing, and you can attribute it with playing baseball all year round in some places. And you've got to give your arm, especially a pitcher, has to give himself 2 or 3 months just to let those muscles in his shoulder and elbow heal and stay away. You can do some weightlifting and some general stuff to maintain your strength, but that's the problem. When you start the first day of spring training, by the end of the season, you lose about 10 to 15% of your.
Okay. Next question is, what is your thoughts on the situation with the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox? And I'm a Dodger fan, so this is kind of near and dear to me. That because of the World Series situation with them cheating and things like that. Do you see this? Do you see this as becoming an ongoing problem, or you think it's going to be solved? Do you think the commissioner has a great hold on this situation, or not?
We've lost Brusstar around. Right now, here he comes again.
All right.
Here he comes.
I'm back.
Okay.
You want to repeat that, Kevin?
The question I had was, I'm a diehard Dodger fan, and I like the Dodgers because of Jackie Robinson. I'm not that old, but my father was a Dodger fan, so pretty much I followed the lead with him. But the Dodgers have been to 2 World Series, and they lost both the World Series to 2 teams that supposedly had been cheating to get to the World Series. What's your thoughts on that? And do you think the commissioner has a grip on this situation that we probably won't see this happen anymore? But the old saying is, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So just give me your opinion on that.
Right, that's an old baseball term, and people are constantly in the dugout trying to get pitchers that tip their pitches. And something I saw a special on Sandy Koufax the other day, and they said he tipped every pitch he threw, and they still couldn't hit him. The hitters knew what was coming. He was that phenomenal. So I never worried about it because I'm sure.
We lose Mr. Brusstar.
I think we lost him again.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe technical difficulty coming out of where he's at.
Okay.
Let me see if he comes back in real fast, and then Kevin can finish up his question. And then I know Chuck's hanging on the line. We got about 11 minutes left in this show as we're waiting for Warren to call back in. There's going to be a technical difficulty coming out of where he's at, so bear with us. Kevin, what do you think of the show, American Sports History, hosted by Peter Ray? It's a Cleveland-based show, and we're just so blessed you're part of it today.
I love the show. Being a Browns fan, I might be a little biased a little bit, Again, my dad was a Browns fan. Every team my dad liked, I ended up liking. So I ended up following following the Browns, and I also follow the Rams. But most of the teams I like because of my father, and I think because of him, he liked all the teams that had something to do with Black history. So, I'm a Celtic fan,
here comes Warren,
a Dodger fan. Okay.
Right, and I'm back.
Warren? Okay.
Yes.
The topic was World Series cheating, and what's your thoughts on the scandal?
Right. Yeah. And it got out of hand when they start to use technology because, the base runners and stuff, they're always trying to pick up pitches and get them, relay them location or whatever from the catcher. That's one thing. But when you're using technology to do it, that's obviously over the line. And the Dodgers just happened to be the team that both teams were playing against in the World Series, and there's been a lot of talk of people stealing signs from the center field camera people or people running the scoreboard. It's all ballparks have those issues, and but to have something like that where they're doing it with technology is a little bit over the line, obviously, and it costs some people their jobs, and they have to clear it up and keep an eye on that to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Okay. And I just got one more question, and I'm done. What do you think about MLB using robots as far as the strike zone is concerned?
Well, I think that takes the human element out of the game. I mean, us as players, we make mistakes. Umpires make mistakes. They've done a really good job with being able to use the replay when they're on the bases and getting those plays right. But as far as using a robot umpire, as a pitcher, you get to know the umpires and what they call and their locations. Everybody obviously doesn't have the same strike zone, but you get to know the umpires, and they're consistent, and that's all you ask for as a pitcher and a hitter is as long as the umpire is consistent, that's all you're asking for. So you learn the strike zone, and some pitches with some umpires aren't strikes, some are. So you learn the different umpires and how to go about your business, and you find how far you can go off the plate or on what side of the plate you can do it on. You get to know the umpires and realize how they're calling the game. It doesn't take very long.
Okay. All right, Mr. Boozer, thank you for your time and your insight on some of the questions that I have.
Stay safe.
Thanks, Kevin. Now we have Chuck from Palm Springs on the line. Chuck, you're on.
Warren, how you doing?
Good, Chuck. How are you?
I have a question. One question, also sort of has to do with the Dodgers. Why do you think a pitcher like Clayton Kershaw, who is so phenomenal in the regular season, doesn't seem to be able to deliver? And, of course, last playoffs against Washington was the proof of the pudding when he single-handedly blew. Why can't he seem to deliver like other pitchers seem to thrive in the postseason? He seems to do the opposite in the postseason.
Right. Well, pitchers kind of go through up and down periods during the season. And now, especially for a starting pitcher, once you get to the playoffs, you're not working on regular rest. And baseball players are creatures of habit, especially the starting rotation. They're used to going every fifth day, and they set up their workouts accordingly for 4 days, culminating in the fifth day when they pitch. And now if you get an extra day thrown in there, sometimes it'll be 6 days between starts, 7 days between starts, and it can throw you off a little bit. I know when I started it, if I didn't start on every fifth day, the first couple innings of the game when I was on a different type of rest was like getting to know your arm again and what kind of velocity you had that night and what to expect from your pitches.
Well, how come it doesn't throw off a Bumgarner, a Bob Gibson, a Sutcliffe? Of course, Sutcliffe was a big key in your season there in '84, correct, when you acquired him?
Sure it was.
But how come it doesn't, Hershiser, how come it doesn't bother those pitchers?
Well, I mean, it's just everybody's built different. And Clayton's had some just phenomenal years, and everybody expects him to do that, and you just find that there are some pitchers that just don't do well in the postseason. It's a real oddity, and I'm sure now, as far as it's gone, it's gotten pretty mental for him, and it's you get out on the mound and staying aggressive and stay positive is like, what's going to happen next? What little crazy thing can happen that's going to cost me this ball game? As far as the body that he's done, he's had a phenomenal career. He's just strong the postseason.
And Sutcliffe the Sutcliffe for Joe Carter trade. Nobody knew who Joe Carter was then, of course, and he turned into a great player. But that really did help the Cubs that year. Was that a big key?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, the biggest key was what Dallas Green had done in the off season, but '83 and the '84 season was he put everything in a computer. He saw that we were 7-37 on AstroTurf, so that had to be addressed. And right before we left spring training to open the season, he acquired Bob Dernier in a trade of Bill Campbell and Mike Diaz. So that changed everything. Now we had two outfielders. Leon Durham didn't have to play center field, who was not quite a center fielder by trade. He was a first baseman. So things now they really started to fall in line. He acquired Scott Sanderson in the off season, made a trade early in May to get Dennis Eckersel.
Oh, did we lose Mr. Brusstar?
Yeah, it looks like we lost him. A little technical difficulty. As we wrap this thing down, Chuck, is there anything else you want to add to it till he comes right back? We're down about 3 minutes and 40-something seconds left in this show. To finish
No,
on
I had remembered that Sutcliffe trade, and then at that time everybody asked who was Joe Carter, and of course we found out, but it was still a big trade for the Cubs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sutcliffe made. I think he was like 15-1 with the Cubs.
Yeah, exactly. 3 minutes
Of course,
left
Joe
in the
Carter
show.
had a great career.
You're on with Peter Ray out of Cleveland, Ohio. As we're waiting for Warren to get back in here. And see if he's back. Warren, are you there? Have him yet. We lost Chuck too. Warren?
Okay.
So we're about 2 minutes and 50 seconds out, Peter. What a fine show until we get Warren back in here. As you break this thing down, here comes Warren. You guys can finish this show out. 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Warren, welcome back.
Thank you, Mark.
Mr. Brusstar, you've got a show on Friday night. You want to talk about your show?
Sure. Yeah, we do a show every morning. Well, it's a morning show here in California at 9:30, so it's 12:30 on the East Coast. And we do an hour. Mark Mancini and I run the show, and we have Todd from Atlanta and Larry Melnick from New York, and we have different guests on every week, and it's a really enjoyable show. It's a Philly alumni show, and we talk Philly baseball and baseball in general.
And your wife is the president of the Tug McGraw Foundation.
Yes, right.
You want to talk about the Tug McGraw Foundation? You got to believe.
Yes, you got to believe. That's Tugger. Yeah, she's been doing that for over 15 years now, and it's she helps the brain tumor people with brain tumors, PTSD people. She has an office up in Yountville, California, where there's a big veterans home. There's about 1,000 people that are housed there. And she found that she could go to the military and find more tissue and do more research out of that than anywhere else available. So she's been partnered with the military for about 10 years now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow, really tremendous. I wanted to bring up another point. You apparently were a starting pitcher in the minor leagues, but you never started in MLB.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
Did you, as your career advanced, did you ever give up on starting, or were you always hoping you could get a start in at some point?
Right. I was hoping I'd get a start and get a chance just to see what I could do, because I had some games where I pitched 4 innings in a game, and so it'd be fun to stretch out and see what I could do for 7 to 9 innings, but I never got that opportunity. And basically, because I was limited in pitches, all I had was a sinker and a slider. Until 1983, and then I developed a changeup, so I had a 3-pitch mix then. But with only a 2-pitch mix, and face those guys the 3rd and 4th time when they come around, and I'm not fooling them anymore. So I was a one-time through the order guy, just by the types of pitches that I threw.
Now, you were at the White Sox the year before they won the division. I think Bill Veeck was the owner.
Right.
You were there for about a month. Is that right? End
right.
of the year?
I was there for the month of September in '82. Right.
So
and
you
could see them building. They were good. They had Richard Dodson and Britt Burns and Lamar Hoyt, and the pitching staff was phenomenal. And they were all young, second, third year guys, and all through very hard and very challenged. You could see the pitching staff was going to be good. The starters were good, and they brought Jim Kern, Sparky Lyle, and myself in at the end of '82, looking for guys in the bullpen. They didn't have much bullpen help in those days, so they were trying to strengthen their bullpen with those acquisitions, and they came to won the division the next year and had a tough series against Baltimore, but they were a good team and really building. And the biggest thing is they weren't able to sustain it. They kind of had 1 year and then done. But they had a lot of talent there.
So you got to experience really what became the '83 White Sox, which was probably, I'm sure, is a very beloved team in White Sox memory.
Yes, right.
So that's wonderful.
Right.
Well, it looks like we're running out of time, Mr. Brewster. Really appreciate it. Hope we can talk again sometime. And
anytime, Peter. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And any guy who played for the '80 Phillies, '84 Cubs, and part of the '83 White Sox that's really something. So I really enjoyed it.
Thank
God
you.
bless you, and give my best regards to your wife, and she can keep up the good work with the Tug McGraw Foundation. Tremendous.
I sure will. Thank you very much, Peter.
Okay, Mr. Brewster, thanks.
Right.
Thanks a lot, and God bless you. We'll talk again.
Thank you. God bless you, Peter.
Okay. Mark, you still there? I think we're going to...
I'm still here as we wrap up this great show, the American Sports History Podcast, hosted by you, Peter Ray, out of Cleveland, Ohio, is on blogtalkradio.com/Mancini Sports, Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, all the nice podcasts and things out there. Stay tuned at the top of the hour. Pittsburgh will be having their podcast with Chris Booth. He'll be talking NFL draft, and then tomorrow as we get into Jeff Juden, Let's Rock Sports, followed by the Wednesday wrap when Victor Rojas, Angels TV broadcaster, is on that one. Have a blessed night. Stay tuned and support all the shows in the stables in both networks. God bless.
Okay, Mark. God bless you.